Talk about what you're passionate about. Talk about, what motivates you. Talk about what makes you wake up in the morning. People want to relate to that. And I think that when I started doing that and showing a little bit, side of my family and things like that, married, right, for a long time. So a lot of guys
Hmm.
relate. And people just want you to be relatable to them. And that way, you don't look at it just like a shark, like they're going to take their money. You know what I mean? So
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Close More podcast. This week in sales, we're going to be talking to El Patronn, probably one of the biggest figures in the car industry today. El Patronn, take it away.
what up, guys? Patronn here, manager partners, Sunrise Chevrolet, and author of the Game Changer book. Game changer, you could be a game changer yourself as well. You just gotta change your mindset, and amazing things can happen. So glad I'm here, man. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Ask away, man. I'm ready.
Awesome. Well, I definitely love to talk to you about social media. I know that's what you're most famous for. And how can people close more deals using social media as the main tool?
Basically, people don't get social. That's the part that they forget how to be social. People are just want to be relatable, and people want to just get to know you for who you are in reality. So people make it too complicated, like, oh, I don't have any content, and I don't have this. I don't know what to talk about. Talk about what you're passionate about. Talk about, what motivates you. Talk about what makes you wake up in the morning. People want to relate to that. And I think that when I started doing that and showing a little bit, side of my family and things like that, married, right, for a long time. So a lot of guys
Hmm.
relate, and people just want you to be relatable to them. And that way, you don't look at it just like a shark, like they're going to take their money. You know what I mean? So, uh,
Absolutely. Awesome, man. Awesome. And I know that you just wrote a book, the Game Changer book. I'm still waiting on my signed copy. Tell me a little bit about that.
so yeah, man. So the book was more like a challenge to myself.
Uh-huh.
I was running multiple companies at the time when I was in Brooklyn, and they agreed to kind of like, it was kind of like a joke, right? But the company agreed to write the book when I was in the back of my car, and I challenged myself. So I was in the back of the car just on the phone with a bunch of people, and it took me about 8 months to write the book. I
Wow.
see a lot of cats getting into business and choosing the wrong path, like I did at the beginning. So I said, what, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to show what I did to kind of make myself out there and put myself out there, outside of the competition, basically just
Yeah.
outside the box kind of thing. And they don't have to choose that path because there is a right and wrong. You know what I mean? So not that we're perfect or anything like that, because none of us are, but I made it outlined also like a workbook. So like New Year's right around the corner, right? And people write down goals. So, I write my goals down just like everybody else. And the
Mhm.
book has done great. I never really did the launch, to be honest with you, because obviously COVID hit, right? And it was supposed to be this big
Yeah.
thing, kind of paused it. So I started just giving the book away. The book is doing great. I mean, I didn't do the book to get rich or anything like that. I just did it to kind of share my message, and it's something like one of those bucket list things that I wanted to do, and it's done. So
Yeah, that's
yeah.
awesome, man. That's a real move right there. I love that you're able to share your story, and I'm really looking forward to reading it. I know you said that some things were derailed because of 2020. What are you looking forward to in 2021?
2020 was a crazy year, roller coaster year, I like to call it. But it was also a year that it made me open my mind, open my eyes a little bit more. And I saw a lot of opportunity, man. There's a lot of opportunities out there right now. Some people say, well, how can you say that a business went down and this and that? I came to a industry and a group that it wasn't doing that great. And, that's kind of like my secret sauce. A lot of people don't understand that. I take broken down stores and I turn them into winners, right? That's how I'm able to justify my pay. That's how I'm able to listen. If you're losing money and all of a sudden you're in the green and the black again,
Something
um,
happened. Yep.
right? Something happened, right? So I wanted to challenge myself one more time and says I could do it with another brand. It was a very risky move that I did in 2019, but yet again, I'm doing it all over again in 2020. So for 21. So I think that 2020, I learned, studied my craft a little bit more. Digital
Mhm.
retailing is kind of like here, right? For 5 years,
Mhm.
we've been trying to like get it into dealership, and now it's like, okay, you got 2 months to figure it out. So it was challenging coming to the dealership, dealing with COVID, dealing with all these things. But I kind of put myself out there again, and it worked, man. I had some record months, and We're going to be profiting for the first time in 2020 in this company. So I'm happy about that.
That's awesome, man. And it seems like 2021 is really going to be, or is going to open up a lot of new beginnings for a lot of new people. And I know you recently took on a new position at Sunrise Chevy.
Yep.
What advice would you give to new salespeople going into their new, I guess, endeavor?
Listen, if you're not happy where you at, man, there's no point of going there and be miserable. Make your surrounding and take that risk, man. I took a leap of faith. I was really scared making this move, man. Believe it or not, and I talked about it before because I have built right the name where I am today, and that was my highest paying job I ever had. And people were like, "How do you leave a job without having a job?" And that's how I want to kind of show the industry, like you make the place. The place doesn't make you. You know what I mean? So at the end of the
Hmm.
day, I know that whether it would have worked or not, still would have been a win to me because I would have learned from my mistakes. And right now, look, I learned how to take a store all over again. This is my seventh store that I take from nothing into something, right? So
That's
now it's just
incredible.
kind of like automatic. I wanted to prove myself, not anybody else. I want to prove myself that I can do it with a different brand, even though people are like, well, Chevy's not that big on social stuff with you being the brand and this and that. But I even changed. They even changed my my logo into the El Patron brand. So it worked out. It was a huge gamble they did, but it was great. Now we're getting the most Corvettes out of everybody, and
Wow.
we're selling them like crazy. So
I
it
know
paid
that's
off.
your bread and butter. You somehow can always sell the luxury vehicles no matter where you're at. That's awesome.
Yeah, it really is, man. It's just there's a demand for it, right? But if you don't show that to customers that you have them, and that's why I say it's so important to be posting those cars all the time. It costs you nothing to post. It's freaking free. I'm always out there in all platforms posting and
Yeah.
things like that. And the biggest ROI for 2020 for me, it's gonna be social media because that's where I spend the least money. I got the most ROI, the most bang for my buck, and I sell more cars out of it. I'm still doing it to this day.
Yeah, that's awesome. So your advice to any salesman coming into any industry would be get on social.
I would say, man, it's the cheapest way, the easiest way, and it's just like going to the gym, man. Once you start doing those videos, I know that the first one is tough, right? And you
Yep,
try it
always.
15 different times. I'm sure you went through it just doing this podcast, right? How do you
You're
know?
my first one.
Wow, here you go. So, and you got me, bro. So you like, yo, how'd you get this guy, right? But you were persistent, and you're like, yo, let's do this, and we were able to figure it out with my schedule, because I do have a
Yeah,
crazy schedule. But after this, man, it's all gravy, right? It's like riding a bike. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to be on social. People want to hear from you, man. At the end of the day, and I always stay positive. I try to stay away from negativity, no matter what's going on in my real world. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, there's a lot
absolutely.
of stuff out there that you put, but just whatever you say online, just make sure that's who you are. And when customers meet you, because that disconnect, it doesn't go right. You got to be able to have that consistency when they see you, what you say you're gonna do it for them because that goes a long way. And I learned that doing social media for the last 4 years.
Awesome. Awesome, Patron. And thank you for that. What goals do you have going into 2021? What's next for El Patron?
Oh man, 2021 is gonna be bigger than ever. So right now, I'm in a position to build my own order group. So I'm putting myself in a position that I'm gonna have multiple stores in New York City. So I want to become one of the biggest brands in New York City, not just as a one entity, but as a whole. So the order group, we've been talking to a few people, and there's a lot of people interested in the order group. So right now we're talking about 3, 4 stores potentially becoming El Patron order group. So that's
Awesome.
very doable, very possible for 21. So I'm excited. There's people in the industry that are very respected, and they respect me not only as a car guy, but also how I am with process and things like that at the dealership, right? So because you can go to a store, but you can be a great marketer, but if you don't know how to put a process in place, it doesn't work. And I did just that in Chevy and the process and people. We built an amazing team, and now I'm ready to go to the next level. There's another level, man. There's always another level. People say all the time, "Oh, it's a cliche," but it's really not. It's just how bad you really want it, and you want to level up. So I'm getting uncomfortable one more time. Around my birthday, my wife says, "Oh, your birthday's coming up, and what are you doing? Are you quitting your job again? This and that." I'm like, nah, it's just opportunities come up. This pandemic has taught me so much, and I'm just excited for the opportunity to land in my lap right now. And like I said to you at the beginning, I said you sacrifice 1 year and you can live like a king for the rest of your life, man. So it paid off.
Exactly.
I'm just honored and blessed with God that He's given me all those things that landed on my lap right now. So I'll be making an announcement pretty soon, the end of the year.
That's awesome, man. And that's a great point. Really execute when those opportunities do arise. I guess one of the final questions I have for you, Patron, is what is the biggest opportunity in the sales world that you see over the next 5 years?
For the next 5 years, I think that digital retailing is going to blow up. I think that the companies are building these platforms how to buy your car, like an Amazon, and just put it in the cart and click, and it'll be at your house. The person
Hmm.
in the company that does that seamlessly and they do it so easy for the client, I think they're going to win, man. They're going to have the biggest payout because, you know, every industry has changed in this 2020, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And right now, people don't want to come to the dealership, right?
Hmm.
It's never going to be the same anymore. People are not going to be able to, not going to want to go to a dealership. They're going to want something just like an Amazon, like in a membership. So I'm trying always new things, rental companies, right? Subscription models. I'm trying all these things because the industry has changed. And I think that the next 5 years, is whoever grabs a hold of that. And,
Hmm.
some guys, I talk to some guys and they're really old school and they're like, well, things are going to go back to the way it was before. I'm like, no, it's not. Stop
It
thinking that
changed
way.
forever. Yep.
Yeah, it has. And, your marketing got to be different. Your message got to be different. And the next 5 years, digital retailing, I think is going to be one of the most, right? And before it was kind of like, you know, are we there yet, right? Oh, it's going to take over. Now it's like we're forced to do it because there's a pandemic and because people are afraid to come to the dealership.
You hit the nail on the head with that one. Yeah, you
Yeah.
really did.
So every industry has changed. Every industry it's pivot, right? Like, and that's what they're trying to do. So the person and the company, I talk to a lot of them right now. There's a company named Dash. There's coming out of the woodworks, and they're building a platform where because a lot of fraud is also going up. So at the same time, you want to protect yourself, right? Because now you're selling a $80,000 car from somebody behind the computer. You know what I mean? You don't know who you're selling the car to. So there's a lot of companies out there that are paying attention to the things like that. The banking industry is also changing the rules, how they buy in and things like that. And the consumers sometimes don't realize that, like everything is changing. So it's going to be a good year, though. I believe that it's going to be a very prosperous year for the automotive industry, and I'm just excited to be part of it, man. And you know, let's go. Let's change the game one more time. I'm ready.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see it, Patron. Well, thank you so much. If some of our viewers wanted to get in touch with you or they wanted to follow you on social media, where could they reach you?
I mean, I don't really models or anything like that, but just Google my El Patron with two N's, and all my social media platform is connected there. Even my cell
Awesome.
phone is public, so you can always reach me on my cell phone. So yeah, just Google El Patron with two N's, and there you go. You'll find me there.
Awesome. Awesome. Everyone, El Patron, the one and only. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.